These are the scenes just moments before the 11th game of the World Championship Match 2024 in Singapore. Gukesh comes to the game. His father and his second, Gaevsky, bid him goodbye for the game as he enters into the playing arena. The score is tied at 5-5 against world champion Ding Liren. This is going to be a very critical game as Gukesh has the white pieces. He'll be looking to press here the final 4 games of the match, and there's nothing to choose between the players. In fact, Ding Liren has shown some amazing character in this World Championship match. Gukesh gets ready for the game. He adjusts his chair, makes sure the height is okay, because he has to sit there for many hours working his way through the game. And he takes the pad, writes down the score sheet. Ding Liren enters. The world champion was considered not to be a favorite before the match, but the way in which he has fought here has made him an equal favorite now. And some have also said that he might be the small favorite going into these last 4 games. As both players adjust the pieces, we have the guest, the first ever Grandmaster from Asia, Eugene Torre, making the first move for Gukesh. He makes the move d4 there, and Gukesh quickly takes it back. And for Ding Liren, the one who is going to make the move is Ho Yifan, the strongest player, female player on the planet currently, and has been an absolute legend in the game of chess. She's not active anymore, but what a great pair of guests we have had today, Eugene Torre and Ho Yifan, and the pawn is placed back. Ding Liren smiles a bit.
With that, let the game begin.
Let the games begin. A handshake and the clocks have been started. This is the Ambit recap of the day. Gukesh opens the game with knight to f3. This is also the move he had played a few games before, and he had gotten a great position in that one, which had gone on to be a draw. But let's see what Ding responds. He plays d5, and Gukesh had played the move g3 in that game. But today Gukesh goes c4. Very interesting move, and we can expect Ding to play the very solid e6 or c6 here. No, Ding Liren goes for the much more ambitious move d4, gaining space, moving the pawn for the second time, and look at that move. b4, gaining space on the queen side. Black has many ways to play here. f6 is one. There's also a gambit line with g5, but Ding decides to be very solid and plays his pawn to c5. His point is, if you take, I'll bring my knight out and play e5. So Gukesh goes e3. We have the reversed Blumenfeld gambit in the position with e3. And here, now you can see Ding Liren taking a lot of time on the clock. He has played this before against Adiban. But here, against Adiban, he had gone knight to f6. But it's not so easy. You can take here, and take a pawn, but white gets the center and a very good position. You could also decide to decline it with knight f6 when Adiban had gone b5 against Ding Liren. We'll see what the Chinese GM comes up with, but he is taking a lot of time. There's also a move like bishop g4. Perhaps he takes off his jacket here. Knight c6 might be an option as well. You have to contend with b5, but after a massive think of nearly 38 minutes, he plays his knight out to f6, and instantly Gukesh plays a3. Now this move has been played very rarely at top level chess. We have 14 games or so, out of which most are correspondence games. Bishop g4 played by Ding, a very good move by him. He's pinning the knight. He's also making sure that the pressure in the center is reduced. Gukesh takes the pawn. And now Ding has to recapture back with the pawn here. Yes, he takes on d4. And now let's see what Gukesh plays. Instantly plays h3. He's already built more than an hour's time lead on the clock. If you play bishop h5 now, I'm sure he wants to go g4, bishop g6 and bishop b2, putting a lot of pressure on d4. So Ding takes this. And a good decision by him. Gukesh also takes with the queen, attacking the pawn. Now knight c6 is a natural and normal move, but after d3, white is better. Instead, a very good move is queen c7 that Ding plays. He defends the pawn, also puts pressure here and gets ready to develop the knight to d7. Now Gukesh makes an error. He goes d3. Instead, c5 was the much better move, but it was difficult to calculate. He goes d3 and Ding plays the excellent move a5. All of a sudden, Gukesh's structure is in a bit of trouble here. He pushes forward with b5, but in doing so, he has badly weakened the c5 square. You can see Ding Liren starting to move quickly. And Gukesh now has to have a deep think. He has 1 hour 53 minutes on the clock. Ding has only 51 minutes. But look at what Ding wants to do. Like for example, let's say you go for a move bishop b2. I go e5. Let's say you put your knight on d2. I play bishop d6. You play bishop e2, and now castles, and then knight to c5, followed by rook a d8 or rook a e8, and black has the most perfect position of pieces with the knights looking at the light squares, the other pieces on dark squares. It would be a big problem for Gukesh, and that's the reason why he has to think very seriously. And in fact, he thinks for over an hour. Look at the clock timing. He's down to 53 minutes. He started with 1 hour 53 minutes on the clock, and he has thought for over an hour. This is not easy. He goes g3, which is the best move in the position. Gets up from the chair, and now Ding Liren quickly plays knight c5. If you look at Gukesh's time, he has 52 minutes on the clock. For the next 6 minutes, he did not come back. He was perhaps in the washroom. He just concentrated there and he's like, let's fight again. Bishop g2 played. If you go knight b3, trying to attack here, I have queen takes b7, followed by bishop f4 coming in, and white is fine. So that's the reason why Ding finds a good move, knight fd7, keeping these knights connected, and e5 coming up. Gukesh quickly castles it out. And now e5 is a normal move, but Ding goes knight e5, sharpening the play. He's like, now the queen is attacked and also the pawn. Queen f4 played. You can't take with this knight. Your queen is hanging. You cannot take with this knight as well because the pawn is hanging. So he goes rook d8 and defends the pawn on d4, now threatening to take here. Gukesh makes an error. He goes rook d1. Better was to play knight d2, giving up this pawn, preparing queen e4, but rook d1 played. And now he's defended this pawn because you can't take here. Rook takes d3 and this is hanging. But the problem now is g6. He goes g6. In fact, e6, and black was clearly better with bishop d6 and castles coming up. g6 allows Gukesh a small chance because now what he can do is he can go a4, bishop g7, bishop a3, attacking the knight, and that is an important move. Gukesh finds it. a4 is on the board. If you play bishop g7, bishop a3, castles and takes, and you win the pawn, white is better here. In fact, Ding goes h5. He's preparing bishop h6. b6 played here. You cannot take here. e5 is hanging. So either queen b8 or queen d6. He goes to d6. Bishop a3 played. Look at the time on the clock. Bishop h6 attacking the queen. Both players have less than a minute per move left on the clock. 20 more moves to make. Bishop c5 taking here, attacking the queen. The queen takes back. And now queen e4 played, attacking the b7 pawn. So Gukesh is out of the woods, at least for the time being. Knight c6 played here by Ding. There's no way to defend the pawn on b6. Knight a3 looks like the normal move. Gukesh does play it, aiming to go to b5, and then knight c7 check could become a big threat. Ding goes rook d7. He not only defends e7 but also the b7 pawn. And now let's see what Gukesh comes up with. He plays knight to c2. I like this move a lot because he controls the b4 square, and after queen takes b6 he can attack down the b file. Ding does take the pawn, but now Gukesh can take the open b file. He plays his rook to b1, attacks the queen. The queen, knight cannot come in because I'll just simply take it, and then that's a worse position. So queen c7 played here by Ding, and rook b5. Fantastic chess. Gukesh, even though he's a pawn down, he's slightly better. Short castles by Ding with left hand, and he's playing quickly there. Knight a1. What a move here. I think everyone expected, including Ding Liren, rook d b1 to attack down the b file, but he goes knight a1. His knight wants to go to b3 and c5. Also attack these squares. Rook b8 played, and now it's time for the knight to jump into the board. Knight to b3 played here by Gukesh, and very important moment. He must play rook d6 and try to hang in there. He has Ding, but he makes an error. He goes e6. This is not a good move, and now Gukesh can jump in with knight to c5 here, which is a very, very strong move. You can see Gukesh completely focused there and actually jumps in. Knight to c5, rook e7 quickly played. Now you can take on b7, take, queen takes, and then queen takes c6. Or you can even start with queen takes c6 here. But Gukesh first doubles down the b file. Knight b4 is a must here, and black is still fighting. In fact, Ding Liren has less than 7 minutes. He's 7 minutes on the clock. He needs to be careful here. And he blunders with queen c8. Absolutely huge blunder. Gukesh can't believe. Look at him. He looks at the board. Ding Liren knows that he's blundered here. The piece is hanging, guys. Queen takes c6. Look at Gukesh. Hawkeye takes the knight. Queen takes c6. And here, look at that pump that he had. He knows he's won. If queen takes c6 here, bishop takes. If b takes c6, rook b8, and you win the game. Ding Liren resigns. Gukesh scores a win after 7 draws, and he has taken the lead in the match with a score of 6-5 with the white pieces. 3 more games to go. Gukesh is pumped here. He's supremely happy, but he doesn't celebrate that much. He just sort of pumps himself up because he knows what this victory means. He's arranging his pieces. I think for the first time in the game, Ding Liren has not arranged his pieces. He's gone there. He has a lot to think about now. If he wants to come back in the match, he has 2 white games, game number 12 and game number 14. It's a 1-point deficit. He had come back in the last World Championship match against Nepo. Let's see what he does here. Gukesh sets back his pieces, pays his respects to the board, puts back his player card, and now will fold his score sheet. Next, he will go to the press conference, and look at him there shaking his head. I think it was a very, very tough game for him. That 1 hour thing, getting into a slightly inferior position, but then not giving up and fighting as hard as he could. As he moves outside, his father is waiting for him near the van. He is extremely happy with this win, but you will see no signs of emotion on his face. He knows that the match is still not over. As Gukesh comes outside the playing venue, this is the place from where he will then go to the press conference. He comes outside and he is looking for his father as fans start to cheer for him. His father then takes him into the van, and they sit down there. His father is extremely happy, and you can see there Gukesh also very, very relieved with this win. As the press conference gets over, he comes back to the venue. We have an entire video of this on our channel. You can check it out. But just want to show you this one final moment which is very, very impactful, at least for me. Gukesh, when he was very young, just 7 years old, he started his career by watching the Anand versus Carlsen match. And here you can see a fan who has come here with his 7-year-old kid. And Gukesh stands with him, maybe not even 7, maybe 6-year-old kid. and he will be an inspiration for the next generation. Wow. Will Gukesh become the world champion? Only time will tell. 3 more games to go in the match. See you all.
This December, the world's top chess minds clash in the heart of New York City at the FIDE World Rapid and Blitz Championship. Witness world #1 Magnus Carlsen and other stars from across the globe. Rapid and Blitz, chess in its most thrilling form, unpredictable and unforgettable. Fast moves, tactics and blunders, and moments that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Witness the pinnacle of chess excitement. Get your tickets now at worldrapidandblitz.fide.com.